Welcome back to the Journey to Leadership podcast. Leadership and management insights to engage, educate, and empower. The aim of this podcast is to provide leaders at all levels of organizations with the tactics and techniques to dramatically increase effectiveness, productivity, and result in their business. My name is Corey Atkinson, your leadership and performance coach, head of learning and development at CSPN. And since these podcasts are for all of you, my listeners, I'd love to get your thoughts. If you'd like to get insight on a specific topic or situation, ask a question, or give us feedback on what you like or want to hear more of, please let me know. Please email me directly at Corey Atkinson or Corey@mycspn.com. And follow me on LinkedIn and the organization CSPN, the Customer Service Professional Network. So let's get started. Today, we're talking about adaptation and the road to adaptation. Quote, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing themselves. Well, I can tell you about one woman that I had the pleasure of working with that lived that quote, who did think of changing herself. Her name, Rashida Cowell. And you may not find her if you Google her, but I will always remember her. Rashida and I first met many years ago in high school. We went to different schools, but we knew the same people and moved with the same crowd. Even though we went to different universities, we always stayed in touch. And it was at university that Rashida took her first steps to where she is today in IT. Now, over the years, we would connect at somebody's birthday party or a wedding and catch up. And during that time, she grew her career in IT and was now well versed in the trends and trouble spots of the industry. She had just joined a new organization and had brought her deep technical skills to lead a team and various projects. It was a Monday afternoon around 4:30 when I get a ping on my Outlook. I open the email and it's from Rashida. It read, "Hi Corey, Rashida here. I know we have not talked in years, but I see what you've been doing on LinkedIn and I'd like to talk." I was a little surprised. I replied to the email and 30 minutes later, we're chatting on the phone. After chatting about the years gone by, what's new in our lives, I say, "So Rashida, from the sounds of your email, you're into some new stuff? What did you want to talk about?" She sighs, "Corey, I see you've been doing a lot of work with a lot of different companies and leaders, and I think I can use your help. I think I need some coaching." I said, "Okay, coaching how?" "I really need to step up and develop a network here. I'm just not making the impacts I've made in my previous world. I need to make and be able to build more influence across the organization." Now, obviously, in my previous role, Corey, I'd been there for over 13 years, so I knew the players and I knew how to get buy-in. I had already had relationships that were existing that I could leverage. But here, I've been here for 5 months and things aren't moving as quickly as I'd like. What I usually do has not been working. I don't know if it's me or if it's the industry or what. I replied, "Okay, it sounds like you've got some things that are working, but there's some slowness happening and it's frustrating you." "Yes, that's it." "So, tell me about what is working, Rashida." "Well, I think I'm doing a pretty good job connecting with my direct team and some of the engineers, the computer engineers I'm working with." I replied, "Great. What's not working?" "Well, I've jotted down a couple things here as I knew I was going to talk to you. One, I don't think I'm communicating effectively across the other functions of the business. And I think I need to tailor my messaging a little bit differently. And I really need to connect with the sales group and with our customer success teams." I said, "Rashida, this is great. You know where you want to go. It's just how do you get there? What pathways? And as a coach, my goal will be to open up those avenues to you." "Great, Corey. Let's get started. I need your help." "Where do I start?" I was quiet for a moment and then I said, "Well, we're going to start with you, Rashida, and specifically your ability to adapt your leadership style." Over the course of our first 2 in-person coaching sessions, we focused on better adaptation. We went through a number of exercises where we clarified Rashida's leadership style, which given her area of specialty over the past 13 years was naturally more of a transactional leadership style. She was good at clarifying goals, establishing realistic expectations, assigning qualified personnel, and this was the kind of stuff that you need in a sort of a technical world. And given the fact that many of our audiences over that past lifetime had been technical in nature, CIO, other IT managers, and so on. So the focus was to work on changing, or better yet, adding to her leadership abilities. And we've worked together in the coaching sessions to prepare her better for conversations so she could ask better questions that would then allow her to change her leadership style for that part of the conversation to help it go in the right direction. It was challenging at first because who likes change? But Rashida was willing to put the work in. And at every session, and even throughout those in-between moments, would call me and say, here's what I did. Did that work? Could I have done something different? She was really ready to adapt, which is the key to the whole process. As we started into our next two sessions, the first thing she said when we sat down was, Corey, this learning to adapt has been powerful. I'm noticing even that my team is challenging others in a respectful way and how to work better with other groups. I love this stuff. The middle two sessions then were focused on vision work. Through coaching and reflecting, Rashida worked to translate her vision for her group and what she wanted to happen into a succinct, crisp, and concrete message. This proved to be very powerful for her in preparing for meetings with other groups where she wanted to have influence, but also for her team because they could clearly understand where they were going, and this allowed for better internal communication and behaviors that were consistent with that messaging. The final two sessions were focused on values. Through some pre-work for herself and setting up some listening meetings with the director of sales and manager of customer success, Rashida was able to accomplish three things. One, she confirmed the drivers of the values of both these fellow executives and their respective teams. By this confirmation, number two was taken care of. She erased preconceived notions that she had brought unknowingly to the table that were impacting her ability to influence. And three, naturally, she built a stronger connection with the key members of the organization, not just at her level, but above as well. The results of the listening meetings were also powerful because they greatly sped up the trust factor between herself, these colleagues, and that, of course, accelerated the buy-in in conversations and helped her quickly develop a stronger network within their organization, which is what she was looking for. So we're now towards the end of our 8 different coaching sessions. And as we're wrapping up the final session, I asked Rashida, so you've done a lot of work over these past months. What would you say is your single biggest area of growth? Rashida was quiet for a moment, and then she opened up her notepad that she had brought to all our meetings, flipped through some of the pages, and said, here it is. Automatic listening. Corey, you mentioned in our first session the concept of automatic listening, and the leaders must be aware of it to adapt. At first, I thought it was a cool phrase, but then I realized how powerful it was. We do it all the time, but now I'm much more aware of it. It has greatly improved my ability, obviously not just to listen, but to lead. It's made a huge difference. Thanks, Corey. Through coaching, we can see here that Rashida really gained an awareness and understanding of what it means to be a leader in a new situation. And by her focus and commitment to developing her leadership skills and adapt them, she's been able to respond to both threats and opportunities. In this case, it was an opportunity. And by recognizing which style was best for which situation, she was able to maximize her success, make a positive impact, and of course, have long-term results. So, what are Coach Corey's comments? Everyone, improvement in anything takes time. The move through the 3 B's, from beginner to better to best, requires a real firm understanding of the fundamentals that define what you're trying to do as a leader and the know-how of when to make change to get things done. There are a couple of key behaviors that Rashida embodied and that I supported her with to help her get here. 1, detect and adapt. I put them together because The first step of any sort of change is to identify the imperative to change, which is her call to me, and then the willingness to adapt and change and try something new, saying this leadership style is not working for me, right? And taking the time to adjust and adapt or detect and adapt in every situation helps us better understand the situational dynamics. You see, the reason that detection is so important is because it allows us space to maneuver, not just physically, but mentally. And that allows us then to be able to adapt more easily. So detect and adapt. Second, choose. A key aspect for Rashida was being able to find the right leadership style at the right time. Naturally, we like to go with what's worked. And if her one style of leadership, transactional, was getting the results in the previous world, great. But she was noticing it wasn't working as well here. So when you need to adapt, there's a couple things you want to look at. What am I trying to do here? Right? What's a definition of winning for everybody? What objective am I trying to achieve? How am I trying to get there? And then also, what and who will be impacted? And that's about choice. The third part is adopt. Now that we've decided on what leadership style is necessary, adapted our mindset and our behavior, and effectively chosen to implement it, it's time to actually do it. And those listening conversations that Rashida had with those other leaders made a huge difference. It extended the olive branch to them, which they in turn replied back positively, which made things happen quicker and build trust. You see, adaptive leadership is about being in the ready. And as we move forward in our day-to-day world of volatility and uncertainty, adapting is critical. Now, while we might have an end goal and a basic strategy to reach it, we all know that there are many ways to get to there, and we cannot just take a A plus B routine approach. Adapting our leadership style to meet the needs of a changing business are critical. It helps us deal with different people, respond to opportunity, manage loss, and ultimately create the kind of environment where everybody can succeed. I started off the podcast with this quote, and I will end with it. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing themselves. So that's our podcast. Please connect with me through our website, mycspn.com. You will find information about our customizable learning and development options, some consulting, upcoming events, and client success stories. All of our podcasts are on our archives page, so please go there to see what else we've been talking about. As well, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or email me directly at Corey, Corey, at mycspn.com. I love getting your thoughts, comments, and questions. And because community is key to the journey to leadership and life, I've got a great offer for you, the listeners. When you post a positive review of the podcast, I'll send you my CSPN Gotta See This reading list, a collection of books, articles, blogs, infographics, and more that my clients and I have found extremely helpful for maximizing leadership, implementing management strategies, and delivering memorable experiences for clients and customers. So please post your review, and I will send the list out immediately. Once again, my name is Corey Atkinson, your leadership and performance coach at CSPN. I hope you really enjoyed listening, and I look forward to seeing you on your journey to leadership. Thanks for listening. Have a fabulous day.